In this demonstration, we'll look at a variety of different ways that animation can be used as an integral part of your design process. Using the sample project that we see here, this was all modeled, rendered, and animated all within Form Z. Now, one way that animation can be used is just for special effects. So we can have people walking and talking. We can have cars driving down the road. We can have the sails and the flags of the water garden sort of blowing in the breeze. There's some birds flying in the background. We can also use the animation to look at the different phases of a project or show an exploded view. This is just a way to better communicate that to others, sort of like peeling back the layers of an onion to sort of see how the project is assembled together, or to also see the different phases of the project over time. We can also use the animation in Form Z as a modeling tool. So we can do repetitive modeling tasks to simply create an animated object that changes over time, and then we can extract that geometry out at a specific interval. We can also use the animation to explore different types of 3D shapes and forms. Once you create the animation sequence of an object, you can sort of play with the keyframe values and the different parameters of that animation sequence and create a variety of different types of 3D forms, and then just extract the one out that you like. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's start with the completed site plan. Here we can see that if we move the animation timeline, we can see that the 3D site is actually morphing over time. So we can see the before and after development of the site. Now this was animated using the Morph Tool, and the terrain was created using the Terrain Modeling tool. So let's go ahead and see how this was done. Let's stop the animation here. First thing we're going to do is create a 3D solid terrain model. We have a series of contours that could be drawn here in Form Z or imported in using the extensive import options that Form Z offers. We draw a 2D boundary site. It can be any shape. Here we have a 2D rectangle. And with the terrain tool active, we simply click on the boundary site and we get a three-dimensional solid terrain model. Now we flat mapped an image map on there. This was a color band image that was downloaded from the USGS website. So we can create a legend which gives us a color gradient scale for the different elevations of our model. Now that's the site before it's developed. Now we're going to create a 3D terrain model using the contour information of the site after it's to be developed. So now what we have is two different solid models. Now what we can do is actually morph between these two objects. Using the Morph tool, just simply click on the two objects and drag the mouse, and you can morph between those two shapes. Now you can exaggerate that too. It goes from 0 to 100%, or you can exaggerate that beyond the minimum and maximum range. We can type in values. If I type in 0, it's object A. If I type in 50%, well, it's sort of morphed half between A and B. And if I type in 100%, well, now it's object B. So you can morph any percentage between those two. Now you can animate this morphing percentage in time. If we were to query the parameters, you can see we can move the slider to 0%, and there's a red dot. Any parameter that has a red dot is an animatable parameter that can change over time. So now at time equals 5 seconds, let's go ahead and change that parameter again. Move the slider to 100%. And now you can see if I were to scrub that timeline back and forth, or if I were to play that back in real time, you can see what it's doing is actually morphing from 0 to 100% between those two objects. And this Morph tool can be used with any type of object, not just 3D terrain models.